All right, if you guys don't mind, just have a seat, and we will debrief this quickly and answer any questions that you have. All right, initial reactions from our two participants, other than frustration with a family member.
So much more frustrating to be up there.
Than watching.
Than watching.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, and it's just troubleshooting, right? I mean, it's like, initially everything was good and the catheter moved. Didn't notice how much initially, right? And so it's like continuing to think of internal reasons, non-catheter related, as to where the source of the error was. And I, anatomically, really couldn't come up with one unless catastrophe had happened. But that was my slowness. And then it's like, okay, without knowing that, then my perspective was, okay, we can try and manage the error by having the cap off. But I mean, have we actually solved the problem just by readjusting the catheter? Because you were right, if we took the arrow, the problem is still there, it's going to return.
Good. Can you summarize the case for us in a sentence, just to make sure we're all on the same page?
The catheter position caused error in the system, and until the catheter position was fixed and the error was taken out,
Good. So patient on VV ECMO with air embolus, likely related to catheter issues. Good. I mean, so air embolus in ECMO is one of those cases that we consider emergency, right? ECMO emergencies. There's a few reasons to clamp off ECMO, and air embolus is one of them. What is your approach to air embolus in an ECMO circuit? What are the initial questions you're asking?
Is it the cannula, or is it some? If it's on.
So one of the big questions is source.
Yeah.
And you're asking about the cannula, for example. What are other potential sources?
Open.
Good. Yeah. Anything really along the access line pre-pump, if you have a connection, that could potentially be a source for air entrainment. Other than entrainment, what else could give you air on the pre-oxygenators, on the pre-pump side? How else can you get air in the circuit? There's entrainment, and then the other phenomenon is
Cavitation.
cavitation. Good. So either air from the outside or air from inside, potentially.
So on the entrainment side, you said something that air's coming in from something open. What did you mean by that?
Like if he's got a triple lumen on the other side.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Or do you get a lot of that from CRT at all? Or?
So, I mean, sometimes there, can be air from CRT, but I think I just wanted to clarify the point you had made, which I thought you were getting to, which was not only on the venous limb of the circuit, but any central line that maybe could be open, that if that line is close to or ends in the right atrium, has the potential to suck some air in through.
That's actually a very good point. And I mean, placing central lines for a patient on ECMO, there's always a risk of air entrainment. Especially, I mean, when we put central lines in, we take the guide wire out, that ground port is open briefly. So, you really have to be cognizant. You can't leave it open. I mean, you take the wire out to quickly clamp it. So the person doing a central line has to be aware of that. Good. So when the question is, where is it? Where's it coming from? What else do you want to know about air embolism in an ECMO circuit?
Yeah, on the venous side.
Good. Location, right? Yeah.
Where's it from? What side?
Yeah. What side is it on, and also what configuration of ECMO are you on? Because that changes potential risks associated with it. So where is air? I don't want to say safe. So where is air safer? And where is it on the pre-oxygenator side specifically, right? The nice thing about these oxygenators is they act as a large sink, and they can take a significant air bolus. Is it about 50 mils that they can take before they go from pre to post?
It's about speed too, right? So it's about how big is the bolus coming into the circuit. So what did you notice in this situation? What was happening here as you were watching air come down the venous line with your system?
Well, it starts out as trickle, but if I would have gotten that cap off faster, maybe it would have. Then it became a big bolus that was just sitting in the column.
Okay.
Yeah, with each cough, it got bigger.
Okay. Was the oxygenator able to handle the air that was going to it? Was any coming across the arterial side?
No, I didn't see anything on the arterial side.
But it did get trapped in the column.
What I can tell you is we probably gave 180 to 240 mLs of air.
Huge.
So if that, we were slowly giving it. And so although on your end it's not appreciated as that volume, what was happening was portions of it were going through to the oxygenator and de-airing, while portions were still kind of remaining in the cone. But the point in that is both the cone is pretty good at venting air and trying to push it through unless it gets to be too much. And the oxygenator is also pretty good at continually venting. And so, it's probably, if you had an acute bolus right into the front of the oxygenator of about 50 or 60 mLs, that's when you would probably see it start to cross over. But if it's a slow trickle of 60 mLs, it's probably just going to vent it and not going to be an issue.
Yeah, I mean, it was very effective, too effective for our case, really. Okay, so the first question is a pre or post oxygenator, and then the second, are you BV or VA? And the difference, of course, is with BV.
BV would be safer.
Yeah, in theory on BV, you have lungs that can catch air emboli, unless, of course, you have a PFO. Don't forget, a significant portion of normal people have PFOs. And with RV failure, and with with respiratory failure and elevated PA pressures, more of that population has PFOs as well. So it's not necessarily safe on BV, but less concerned than VAF.
VA, you would stop.
Yeah, so in terms of management, so in terms of sources of air, I think we covered all these. So external, that's entrainment, cavitation is within, and of course the venous cannula. So manipulation of the venous cannula, this patient was coughing a lot, of course, which was a problem. And then in terms of deciding on an emergency, that was the question about is it pre or post oxygenator, and are you on BV versus VA ECMO. So in terms of, where does air collect? Where do you guys notice air collecting first? So yeah, the pump head, right?
Yeah.
So the pump head is usually the initial sink where it kind of can catch and stagnate. If it's micro bubbles, the pump usually continues working. If it's a sufficient bolus and you get an air fluid level in there, it can completely obstruct the movement of the pump and get air locked. And you guys did see some effect of that, right?
Yeah, huge.
I mean,
Yeah.
your flow went from normal to pretty dramatically dropped. And then the next sink, of course, is the oxygenator, as we said.
So with the cardio help, since it's integrated, is it arranged so that goes straight up? So the cone, you would get an airlock in that cone, or you can still
I think
get
you
an
can still